Oh boy, do I got a mess to clean up. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Tuesday, midday, almost evening time, and I figured I'd make a little kind of situational update video for some upcoming videos. So stay tuned. I actually watch, what is it, Precision Transmission on YouTube. They cracked me up because they're like, oh, stay tuned in the next clip. Stay tuned. You're like, Trent, I swear to God. Uh-oh. It's a popo. So the E4D that I was building on, or actually tearing down, I gave to my friend Scott in exchange for some suspension parts that I'm planning on maybe using, but I'm not sure, on the junkyard truck. So I have to decide if I want to spend the extra money to finish that, or to do that project. I know those rear shocks would work out on that truck, but I already did a shock swap on that, so I don't really need to mess around with that. So I'm going to hang on to that stuff for a little bit. But I gave him the E4D as a core transmission, so that if he needs parts, he can rob from that when he decides to go through his E40. I'm instead going to be fixing this up. I got to replace the cluster shaft, and we're going to put that in the junkyard truck. But for now, the 4BT truck needs some serious attention. I'm actually taking a break from the junkyard truck to put some time and money into Betty, and I'm going to go over with you guys what I'll be doing in the next few weeks. I'm actually got some parts on order right now, so I'm gonna let's go get the truck fired up. I'll bring you along. I gotta move the daily driver over there, and the junkyard truck is around the corner parked on the side. I probably can't move it now because I'm parked in the cabbage, so but at least for the junkyard truck we do have a transfer case. The only thing with this one is it doesn't have a output speedo thing, so I might have to go to the junkyard and rob a tail housing and a output shaft for that. So that may be another junkyard video. In fact, we may have to do one very soon. Let's see, old Betty needs some work here. I gotta fix my cab lights. Got 3 lights out of 5. Someone said, oh, they'll fill up with moisture. I'm like, yeah. Well, guess what? It's been 2 years, 3 years, and they got moisture. Probably should have just bought the factory ones, but I didn't like how the factory ones looked. They looked kind of goofy. Let's see. Oh yeah, just a little cold. Let's see. I can't remember if I reset this trip when I did the oil change. I don't remember anymore. I think this is how many miles I have on this engine rebuild. You guys can't even see it. 2,287 miles. Have I gone that far? I don't know. And then my actual odometer on here reads 33,000 miles. But the truck in total, I think I got 140, 145. The next speedometer I get, I think I'm gonna go with glow shift, but I'm gonna contact them and see if they can program my mileage in beforehand, so that way I'm not having to keep figuring things out. I'm getting kind of sick of that. At this point, it really doesn't matter how many miles are on the body. It's really just ragged from me nitpicking at it and just age. This truck's 40 years old now. It was built in 81, I think. It's an 82 model. And it's now 2021, so Yeah, just give her a minute to build. Yeah, we got oil pressure, we're good, so we can move it 5 feet. I gotta fix this. This drives me nuts. Once upon a time, many moons ago, I put a solid axle in this truck. I was originally going to do a twin traction beam, but I kind of wanted to lift the truck, and I was able to snag this Dana 44, which I got with a 9-inch, for 500 bucks. So this has been in here for the last 5 years, I think. 4 or 5 years, I can't remember. And it's got all the original steering stuff that I put in it when I swapped it in. And one of the things I did is I used mostly James Duff hardware. Let me give you a little history on this setup here. So I bought the James Duff long arm kit for this. And instead of using the factory toothpicks, I went with the James Duff arms. That cost me a pretty penny. Those were about 1,000 bucks. So I got those along with their C-caps, coil spring retainers, and their buckets. And I used their track bar, but I don't think this is actually their track bar, because I looked at this online, and it looks like this track bar is kind of just a universal adjustable kit for a 78 F-150 or Bronco. And so I don't really I'm not gonna blame them for this track bar, but basically the problem I'm having, I don't know if that moves around, but I'm gonna show you why I'm kind of bitching here in just a second, or why I'm about to bitch. Then we come up here, I'm using their track bar bracket, and I'm sorry James Duff, but this track bar bracket just ain't working. I've bolted it the way I could bolt it up to my frame, and she's tight. She's in there. This bolt is as tight as I could get it. You guys watch that pivot for me. Yeah, so it's bolted, 2 bolts up in here. There's one I couldn't get in there, and that might be actually my problem. I could probably put a bolt there and that might help. I think that's why I welded it. But it's also got this little offshoot and 2 bolts that hold it in there, and it still flexes. So the other problem is, can you see? No, you can't see the lights in the way. Right here, there's some little burrs. That's from my coil spring bucket hitting that. In fact, I think this is where it's been hit. Yeah, right here. It's been hitting there. And that, when that happens, this tire is actually up into the wheel well. That's not good. I don't need any more crap in that tire. So What I'm electing to do is we're actually going to get rid of this track bar bracket. Get rid of this track bar. I'm going to order a kit on Ruff Stuff. It's actually the same kit our friend Todd's running that he told me to get in the first place, but I was like, I don't want to weld anything, blah, and yeah. Anyways, we're gonna weld a offset axle bracket onto here. I'm actually gonna go to a friend's place and we're gonna weld that on there. That's where we're gonna do this project. So I think I should have plenty of room for that to come up in here. And we'll have to see where that wants to land. We might find out where our track bar wants to land and then cut any excess off. Not sure. But yeah, it's going to be welded onto this axle tube. Hopefully we don't have to get into the cast, because otherwise we're going to have to preheat that. And yeah, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be able to just weld it right here to the axle tube. And then there's a new bracket that comes in the kit. And it's going to pretty much weld around this first bolt here for the steering box, and then it'll come down probably about here, and there's 3 slots you can work with, and I'm just hoping that if we can use that last slot that it'll be enough room to come down and clear this pitman arm, especially at full compression. Something I noticed I never fixed, I never put a plug in that bolt there. That kind of goes right into the case. Uh-oh. No, it's just a vent. So yeah, that's gonna be our plan of attack. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be going to a friend's place. He's got a 220 welder, and we're gonna get that fired up, and we're gonna weld in that bracket. Yeah, so that'll be a nice little upgrade, and it's all Heim jointed, no squishy bushings. Now you want to see how much play I got in my steering? Now I've checked tie rod ends, ball joints. I grease this stuff regularly, and everything's tight in that respect except for that track bar bushing and bracket. So check this out. Okay, I gotta put you down for a second. Okay, we'll unlock the steering wheel. Oh, someone's dry. So I'll see if you can see. It might be hard to see, but there's just the slightest bit of movement where the axle doesn't track with the body. And look at this. Like there's a little bit of a ka-chunk there, but I can't find that ka-chunk, but it's not in the tie rods or ball joints or anything. Might be the steering box. But yeah, like that amount of movement is just rocking the cab. And when I go further, then it moves the wheels. So that tells me my track bar is not right. So yeah, I'm gonna order that kit, and we'll get that welded on there and fixed up. The other thing that I'm gonna be doing, and I've been meaning to do, but I just haven't want to spend the money because I keep focusing on other things that I think are more important. But guess what we're doing? I'm going to be upgrading the steering box to a redhead steering box. As you can see, this one's leaking, and I've had this on here for a few years now. I robbed it off of another truck that I once had. It was actually an F-250. And what was nice is that its pitman arm was dropped down about a 1/2 inch, and it put my drag link kind of at a better angle to kind of match the track bar. So I really don't have any problems with like bump steer or anything like that. It usually drives pretty good, but the movement in the track bar is making it kind of wandery. It's almost worse than a TTB truck with blown bushings. So yeah, so we're gonna order that kit. It's like 178 bucks for the whole deal. And then you really just gotta have a friend with a nice welder and do a nice clean solid weld on there, and we'll be good to go. So yeah, I think I'm gonna actually order that right now. So probably within the next week or two I might get around to doing that. We'll see. I do have some stuff coming up, but I'm also gonna order the redhead steering box this weekend. I get pretty good paycheck this week. I worked some 12 hours of overtime, so I got some money. So we're gonna put a new steering box in here. We're gonna upgrade that, and then probably the second thing is we're gonna take out this track bar setup. We're gonna weld in a new one, and that one will make it a little bit easier to adjust. And then after that, I'm going to be upgrading this to a steering ram setup, and I'm trying to figure out where I might want to mount that. I'm almost thinking, I've seen some Jeep guys and other builders, they weld their ram mount into the front cover, and we may actually do just that. Because when I get the new steering box, it's going to be ported for a hydraulic assist. So we could probably weld a tab onto here and a tab onto here, and that'll give us a hydraulic ram right on the axle. And what that will do is take a huge load off the track bar, the steering box, and basically this whole side of the frame we'll just be controlling side-to-side movement versus steering movement, so that'll take a huge load off of it. So that will be a thing. And then at some point I definitely got to get in here and put my new 410 gears in. That's another thing. Still debating on what I want to do for an axle carrier. I don't know if I'm going to do a limited slip, an open diff. If I have the money, I might do some kind of locker, like an ARB or an aux locker. Kind of would like to do, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, longevity and, future service and stuff like that. If I get an aux lock, it's just a cable deal, and that would be kind of nice. Anyways, guys, I just want to let you know we're going to be focusing on old Betty here, and this is going to probably be it's gonna push getting Greta going for a little bit, because like I said, I really got to get this thing kind of fixed up, and just yeah, because this is my baby. We got to take care of old Betty here. She's been good to me. But yeah, the steering thing is definitely just, God, it just drives me nuts. So if that means I got to work some extra overtime, which I probably won't, I'll do it. So anyways, guys, check out the links down below. I have my PayPal for channel donations. If you guys want to throw a buck or two my way, that'd be great, because it's going to go right into what I want to do with this truck. So if you guys can throw a couple bucks my way, that would be fantastic. If not, no worries. So I'll catch you guys later.